So in the last lesson, we saw our modular app. We went through each module and we saw how it works. So let me now show you how to build all these modules. Let me first close all tabs here, and I will open this README file which I have prepared. And these are basically the commands. So in order to compile modules, first you need to compile it one by one. So first you need to compile book API, inventory reports, and so forth. So let's do this in the real time. Just let me open the terminal here. Okay, there. Okay, so let's begin. First we are using javac, this compiler. Then using -d, we specify the folder, the directory, in which we want our compiled classes to be stored. So I want them stored in the book API/bin. Then I need to provide module info.java. So I'm giving the full path, book API source module info.java. And then I provide the list of all Java files I want to be compiled. So in this case, I can just use wildcard, and this makes sure that all the Java files in this folder will be compiled. So let's copy and paste this and let's run this. Okay. Everything is okay, no error. And now if you go to book API, you'll see that this bin folder is created. And this bin folder has our module info.class and has our book.class. So this is what happens every time you compile Java application. You have these class files. Now they are stored in bin. Okay, so now let's do another one, inventory. And now in order to compile inventory, this inventory depends on some other modules. In this case, the inventory depends on the module book API and the module reports. So I have to pass this module path command, or just -p for short. So module path or -p is the same. So module path, and then I list all the modules which I need in order to compile this module. And you can see here I have separated the module with the comma. If you use Windows, then it's semicolon. So it could be, so for Windows, it would look like this, semicolon. For Unix systems, it's colon. I'm doing this on my Mac, so this is why it's colon. And then after I have provided the list of all the dependencies, then again, like before, I'm defining the directory with -d, with the directory in which I want my class files to be stored. And then I list all of my Java files. So I'm listing I have to specify module info.java in any case, and I can just list all the Java files. So this is how it works. So let's try this out. Copy, paste. Okay, and here we have one warning, and this is because I have required reports, but reports doesn't exist because I didn't compile it. So this is actually not the best practice. So I have used this opens to reports, if you remember, in my inventory class. Let's just remind ourselves. So I have this opens to reports, and I still don't have reports. So usually in the practice you try to avoid this kind of situations, but this works, this is allowed. So maybe bad practice, but allowed. And I had to do this because I wanted to demonstrate how all these keywords work. And the important thing to notice here that this model was compiled. Although this reports doesn't exist, it's still compiled. Because like I said, the opens keyword tells you that com inventory is available to reports during the runtime. So during the compile time, this will not create any problems. So now we are compiling, and the compiler says, okay, the reports doesn't exist, but I don't care because I need reports only for the runtime. So this is why I will just give you the warning and everything goes as before. So this is why we got this warning. Okay, so let's go to the next one, reports. So in order to compile reports, again, I need to define dependencies. So the dependency is book API and inventory, and then -d. I provide my directory in which I want my classes to be stored, and then I list the Java files, first module info.java, and then all other Java files. Okay. So let's run this, and everything is okay. No errors, nothing. Then for the notification service, again, this notification service doesn't require any packages. Let's see, let's check this out. So if I go to module info.java, yeah, so I'm exporting and I'm using. So I'm not requiring anything. So this is why I don't have this module path here. So I'm just providing output directory and then module info.java and then all other Java files. So it's just simple. Let's just copy and paste this. Okay, it works. Then for the email notification, well, now I need notification service. So first I list the dependencies, then -d, I list the folder, directory, and then all Java files. So we already saw this. Okay, everything is fine. For the model checkout, we need book API, we need inventory, we need notification service, we need email notification. So we need all this in order to be able to compile checkout. So we listed all the paths, and then again -d, and so forth, all Java files. So let's copy and paste this. Okay, no errors. And now finally our app. So for our app, we need checkout and we need reports. So if you go to, you can see this, if you go to module info.java, you need checkout, you need reports. And then you specify your output folder and Java files. Okay. Yeah, so everything is compiled. And now we can run the application. And in this first way, we will run the application using bin folders we have created. So we have Java, command to run the application, module path. And now we have to list all the dependencies. And these are basically all our modules. So we have book API, inventory API, and you can see I need to specify directory which contains class files. This is important. So we have book API, inventory, checkout, app, reports, notification service, email notification. We list them all. And then I use -m, which is abbreviation for module. I could write module as well, like this. Okay. So after the module, you have to provide basically the name of the class which contains the main method. Okay. And now let's run our application finally. And let me just expand this terminal. Okay. I'll do this in a clear way. Okay, so we are running our application. And this is our app. Welcome to library module app, available books. So this is this report method, if you remember. So I have the list of books. Please enter the name of the book you want to check out. Okay, let's test this. Let's first enter the book which is not on the list. Get rich quickly. Okay. And now I get to the message, book not available, get rich quickly. So we are not here to get rich quickly, we are here to pass our exams. So let's try this again. Again, I'm running the application. Let me now write OCP study guide. Enter. Okay, it works. So the book is checked out. So I have checked out book with title OCP study guide. So this is how the record is printed out. And then I'm invoking my email notification service, and I get email sent with message, you checked out OCP study guide. So you can see that all these modules, everything works here. Okay, and let me now show you another way to compile these programs. And what is usually the recommended way is using jars. And this is something you should also be aware for the exam. So let's create modular jars. So for each of the module, I will now create a jar file. And this is what you do if you want your model to be available publicly and you want other programmers to use your model. Then after you create your module, you create jar files, and this is how it's usually done. So first for the model book API, I'm using jar create command. Then I'm providing the name of the file. So this is how I want my file to be called, and I want it to be in the folder book API, so book API.jar. And then with this capital C, I'm providing where my class files are located. So if you remember, when we compiled the modules, then we specified these paths, and our class files are in this path. And then, according to the syntax, you have to provide this dot. This means that you are currently positioned in the main directory of your application. So let's run this and see what happens. Okay. So this should create the jar file, and here it is. So in book API, we now have the jar file. And now we do this for all the modules. So for the inventory module, for notification service, for email notification, it's all the same. And you can see that we are getting these jar files now. For checkout, for reports, and finally for our main app. And now you can see here is the difference. Let me stop. So when you create for the main method, then you have to define main class. So jar create, the name of the jar file, but now I'm also adding this main class, and I'm providing the full name of the main class, and this is where my main method is located, and everything else is the same. So let's run this as well. Okay. And now I want to run this application, but not using bins like before. So here before, let me show you. So here we run using bins. So in module path, we have provided the paths of the bins where our class files are. But now in the module path, we are providing jars. So this is much better. So we have our module packed in jar file, and we are just listing all the modules. We are basically providing all the jar files, and now everything else is the same. You have model, and then you have the full path to your main class. So let's run this. Okay. And this is our application. And let's again test it. Let's try workbook learn Java. Book is not there. Let's run it again. Let's try OCA study guide. And it's there, it's checkout. So you can see that the application works. So to summarize, we have compiled our application by first compiling each of the modules separately, and then finally we compiled our main application. And then when running the application, we had to provide all the required modules in order to be able to run the application by providing the full path to our main class. And then we did it again, but this time using jars. So we have created the jar file for each of the modules, and then in module path, we had to provide all these jar files, and again, we were able to run the application. And we also saw that when you create a jar file for your main class, then you have to specify which is the main class. And in this case, Java knows where to look for the main method, and it can run. Okay, so I hope that in this example, you saw how modules work, how module-info.java works, how everything is connected together, how the dependencies are defined, and everything else. And I think with this knowledge, you shouldn't have any problems in the exam using modules. I will still give a few more lessons about modules because there are some more things you need to know, but this is the core of the modules. If you understand this, then you can say you understand modules and you will be fine. So let me end the lesson here, and I will see you in the next chapter.